So wellness to me is like taking care of your fucking brain and your body on a day-to-day basis. Since I was a teenager, I was always interested in natural medicine, in health food. Well, exercise is very important. And for a long time, I would focus on exercise as a means to control the way my body looked, which is, again, another one of those never ending things you got to deal with every single day. But when I shifted the focus to like, oh no, I'm running for mental health. Every time I go for a run and I get outdoors and I breathe fresh air, I feel like incredible. The days of rock and roll excess, there's not really anything sexy about that. I've gotten sober, like pretty hard sober, multiple times in my 20s, and failed at it a few times in my 30s, and I just don't even know what to call it anymore. I'm just trying to be gentle with myself, but
Welcome to the Collaborative Resource Hub by Wellness Provisions. We're bridging the gap between mental health, wellness, and rock and roll. I'm Amy McBride, owner of Wellness Provisions, the most badass wellness business. Hey, are you feeling a little stuck in life? I offer wellness coaching sessions. Book a session with me if you're seeking to get healthy and ahead. Sessions are available worldwide. And check this out. Wellness Provisions supplies rock and rollers with high-quality supplements. We've simplified your shopping experience and given you a trustworthy place to go where you can essentially shop blindfolded. And did you know all our Collaborative Resource Hub interviews air on YouTube as well as all major podcast platforms? Subscribe to stay in the loop. Go immerse yourself in the full Collaborative Resource Hub experience over on our website. You'll have access to helpful resources that will inspire and educate you. So let's inspire each other. If that guy did it, so can you. Last but not least, my legal disclaimer. Nothing in this interview or the Collaborative Resource Hub substitutes medical advice. Please connect with your GP if you need medical guidance. Suzi Moon, how are you?
Hey, Amy, thanks so much for having me. I'm doing really well.
Good. So for someone who doesn't know what your music sounds like, how would you describe it?
It's kind of hard to do that for yourself, to really be objective of your own sound.
Yeah.
I hope that people, take it and relate it to whatever it is they need to relate it to. But sonically, we take a lot of inspiration from 1977 punk rock, the fucking Damned, the Clash, the Ramones. Mm-hmm. But as a songwriter, my inspiration, goes back to Tom Petty, Otis Redding, Smokey Robinson he wrote such an insane amount of incredible songs, but that stuff was really like right there before punk rock. Mm-hmm. And that's what punk rockers grew up listening to in the early stages. So it all really connects. It's about the song, The Stooges are another band that I like constantly go to just be inspired, but it's classic punk rock and roll.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, to like agree with that. I was telling my friend about your music and I was like, she's just like 70s, like punk, just raw rock and roll. It's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really what my spirit is guided to do, because that music is so important to me. Mm-hmm. And has shaped who I am. So really what I want to do is just add to that legacy, and there are a zillion amazing punk bands that came out after the 70s. You look to the early Social D stuff in the 80s and TSOL and Rancid and Green Day. Like, I'm a fan of great fucking songs, and punk rock has spanned generations. And so I take it very seriously. And I want to contribute to that and contribute something that does punk rock right, and does it justice.
Yeah. Far out.
Yeah.
So changing gears completely. Mm-hmm. What does well-being mean to you?
I mean, you have to check your crazy side. and taking care of yourself is like the first step to that. I believe that all artists are a little bit crazy. There's something, that either happened to us or we experienced in a way or observed in a way, or maybe it's just the chemical makeup of our brains that pushes us to interpret our feelings in a visual or sonic way. And that vulnerability, it's both like brave and scary all at the same time. It's this really strange balance of sometimes personalities even. So wellness to me is like taking care of your fucking brain and your body on a day-to-day basis, so that, for me, for example, I'm less crazy at home and I'm a better girlfriend, sister, daughter, best friend when I channel the things that should be brought out on stage into exercise, meditation, fucking just deep breathing if I'm having a moment. The way you eat too is such a big part of that. So there are all these little things that you kind of have to keep an eye on in order to operate at your best level, and I know that for me, if I slag on one of these things, I might get triggered in a way to where that fucking crazy comes out and not in the place I wanted to channel it into.
Yeah, it sort of like makes a crack that it allows for something to kind of get in there. Yeah.
And then everyone's mad at me for a day. Oh, no. But it's okay because people make mistakes.
Yes, that's right. And then tomorrow is a new day and you can start over.
Every fucking day is such a gift.
Yeah, right?
Totally.
Did you ever have like a moment or, like a time period where shit got crazy and you realized like you had to be your own advocate, you had to like reprioritize your life and do things, in a more mindful way?
I've had many, many moments like that. It depends on the era, or the place. I think, especially growing up in LA, there's a really big party culture, or at least I was maybe always drawn to that in a sense because of things that happened in my childhood. And, the way I dealt with feelings was to go out and party them away, essentially, instead of dealing with them. And I've gotten sober, like pretty hard sober, multiple times in my 20s, and failed at it a few times in my 30s, and I just don't even know what to call it anymore. I'm just trying to be gentle with myself, but I've had those moments, and I've never actually had anyone tell me you need to fucking get your shit together. It's that I know when I'm being bad to myself, know, and there are always resources around you, and something that I've noticed in punk rock is that there's a way larger sober community, or at least anti-party community, than maybe people notice on the surface, but at the same time, if you kind of measure yourself against that, it could make you feel actually worse because you've seen so many people succeed at doing this thing for 20, 30 years. It's like, well, what the fuck is wrong with me? So I don't think you should ever measure that shit up against somebody else's journey or their story. But definitely, if you you got to be in tune with yourself. And luckily, I've always been very independent and known when I was doing something that was bad to myself, because at the same time, I'm a really healthy person. And since I was a teenager, I was always interested in natural medicine, in health food. I was vegan when I was 13.
Oh, wow.
And I find that actually, now that I'm older, I look back on that, I think that was my way of being rebellious to my mom. She was like, that's my special daughter, Suzi, who has to eat things differently than everybody else, And I'd be sitting at the fucking restaurant like, what's in your salad dressing? Do your croutons have cheese? Making it a real fucking problem for her to go to the grocery store, essentially. But ever since I was a kid, I always felt like really in touch with my body. and my mind, and I want to take care of myself. I've always wanted to take care of myself. That doesn't mean that I've succeeded every day of my life
Right.
in being that best version,
Yeah, but having the intention and the awareness, we all make, mistakes. I mean, and that's literally part of learning and figuring out what works and doesn't. And,
Yeah.
When you fuck up enough, eventually you hit that wall, and then, that's when you're ready for whatever better or improvement to kind of.
Or maybe you're not even fucking up that much. Maybe things are still working. You're still getting to work. You're having a lot of fun. You're around people that also seem to be functioning totally normally, so it's like, but if there's something inside of you that says like, I don't feel great, like just to have that mindfulness to check in with yourself is powerful. So things like journaling, I've kept diaries since I was a really, really little girl. I have a box of all of my journals, and it's really interesting to look back at those and be like, man, the little Suzi was very self-aware, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't go out and deliberately get myself into trouble for the sake of a story or an adventure or whatever. But I'm 32 now, and it's like, that shit gets old, and you as an artist, like, you need to take that seriously. I take that fucking seriously. So the days of rock and roll excess, there's not really anything sexy about that.
Yeah. What do you think about people who still feel like they have to like emulate or, act like the crazy artists, that influence them?
More power to them if they can do it and not feel like they want to die the next day. I'm not like that. Even one little kind of like misstep there, it's like immediately, like, wow, that wasn't at all how I want to be, feel, whatever, but I know plenty of people who are out there just raging away and they look like they're having the best fucking time. And then it's like, I'm not one of those people,
Yeah.
And I think just knowing that for yourself
and
is really important.
Yeah. Knowing
totally.
It and totally owning it. And like, that's not me. It doesn't serve me. I don't feel good like that.
Yeah. But I mean, to each their own. And there are lots of people who drink very merrily into their old years with just a glass of wine or two, and they're the funny aunt or uncle or whatever. And it's like, no, again, that's not me. So, but it is hard because during the pandemic, shit, like being so isolated was actually really, really good for me, especially with moving across country and being forced to separate myself from my social calendar. Living in LA, you go, all your friends playing shows, there's a birthday, there's fucking this, there's that. And saying no to things can be really, really difficult, especially if it ties into what you're doing as a musician, like, oh, I want to go see that band because maybe I want to play a show with them or something,
right.
And it's all like networking and all that stuff. So having the time to really just be a homebody and get my routine in order and, start baking bread and shit like that, really did wonders for me. And coming out of it, we just played our first 3 shows last week, and which was so fucking exciting. But I don't think I was mentally prepared to be at a show or be around people in that same way, where it's like when you play a show, you're stepping into this like, oh, it's my night, I'm performing, this is like a big fucking deal, but also like, balancing like everybody else's personality around you and like being on, in a way that's like actually person to person instead of on Zoom or something, is absolutely terrifying. And I kind of like freaked out a little bit more than I expected to, just because it was a lot more excitement than I had been around.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I forgot. Rock and roll is terrifying. There's all these free beers backstage. I just can't stop staring at them. I'm really thirsty. It's just a beer, and it's like, why am I thinking about that when I have a fucking show to play?
Yeah. How did you kind of balance yourself then? What did you do?
I just drank water and ran away. I hit my little vape pen. No, it's like, you just have to do whatever you can do. You have to stop yourself, you know, but I can't always stop myself. But those temptations that will never go away in the music scene. You'll never not be offered free alcohol backstage, like forever and ever. That is going to have to be something you step up and say no to.
Exactly.
You know, and some days you're fucking not as strong as others. And that's like, it's a dangerous place to put volatile, fragile people.
Here's an advert in less than 20 seconds. Did you know that Wellness Provisions offers one-on-one wellness sessions? Yep. So if you're seeking to get healthy and ahead in life, but feeling a little stuck, then book a session and let's get you unstuck. Now back to the interview. So what does, what does your routine look like? Like, what keeps you feeling balanced on the day-to-day? What kind of stuff do you do for yourself?
Well, exercise is very important. And for a long time, I would focus on exercise as a means to control the way my body looked, which is, again, another one of those never-ending things you got to deal with every single day, you know, and some days you feel better than others. But when I shifted the focus to like, oh no, I'm running for mental health. Every time I go for a run and I get outdoors and I breathe fresh air, you know, I feel like incredible. So exercise is a big part of that. Every day I wake up and I drink diatomaceous earth and a superfood powder that's got like probiotics and like 50 different superfoods in it. And then 2 little spoonfuls of protein. That's like my morning thing. Also lots of black coffee, you know, because we got to have our coffee. Now I've only had a mug and a mug. So I'm trying to actually figure out more of a routine. For a long time it was like, okay, I'll kind of like, I just need to get to the gym. If I just get to the gym, then I did a good thing today, you know. But I'm actually trying to structure my workout schedule a little better, where it's like, oh, Monday is just like straight up cardio and arms, and then Tuesday I go outdoors for a run. I have to go outdoors once a fucking week minimum to run. And then Wednesday is yoga and abs. And then Thursday needs to be like butt and maybe more yoga or cardio. But like, it makes me feel so much fucking better for the entire day. But I am in a place where like, I'm really happy with my body. So I'm adding in things to tone certain muscles that like I haven't paid attention to. And I notice when I'm playing guitar, like if I have stronger arms, like then I can play faster, you know, and stuff like that. And like I like to wear certain things that show like a little bit of like the booty at the bottom. So it's like, you know, but I consider that to be part of my job too, because being fit and wearing the things I want to wear on stage and just feeling really confident about myself adds to my performance, you know?
Totally.
So it's really a part of my job to work out. But for myself as just a totally fucking normal person, like it makes my day better if I can go work out for a while.
Yeah. So you mentioned meditation. Do you do that regularly, or time periods where there's like a lot of stress going on? Like, when do you meditate?
I have gone through like periods of like meditating every day, 10 minutes, 20 minutes or whatever. It's a little bit harder right now because I don't have a ton of alone time. And it's one of those things where it's like you want absolute fucking quiet, you know? And I also feel like when I do have alone time, I have so much shit I have to do, you know, that it's like, oh, but I have to do that thing first and then that thing, and then I have to do that thing. And then I forgot to send that fucking email, you know, which is why meditation is so important though, because
I had an idea. What if on the days you go to the gym, like before you get out of your car, put in some headphones and do like a 10-minute meditation, or, you know, if it's like meditation music or a guided thing while you're in your car before you go to the gym, or like after the gym.
That's a really good idea.
But then you are kind of by yourself, but you're in like space.
Wait, you mean I shouldn't be chain smoking cigarettes right before I go into the gym?
I would probably do it like after or something.
It depends on the mood. See, I like to have a cigarette before the gym because then I take a shower and then I don't smell like a cigarette when I get out of the gym. But you know what? I can try meditating instead.
I mean, you could try it, or just like smoke during the meditation. I don't know.
I love it. These are all of my favorite things combined.
That's awesome.
See, it's different for everybody. You just have to find what works for you.
And that's it. And you just gotta, meet the person where they're at and whatever, so if you need to smoke during your meditation, God damn it, then do it.
Then I'm gonna fucking do it. But I do have a favorite meditation spot, which is like, if only every meditation could be at this rock that I found down by the river that I have to run a couple miles to get to. And that's my like halfway point before I turn around. And then I climb down the side of the little mountain and there's a river and it's the rock. And then I'm literally sitting at the river. And that's my favorite place, because it's extremely secluded. If anything, you just hear some footsteps up at the top. I pay attention to the bird sounds and the little fish splashing in the river, and I have the sun on me. So that's the zone. That's like the really like prime spot, but I just don't get down there every day. But yoga is another thing too. Even if it's just a 20-minute video, oh my God, that I feel like is absolutely a form of meditation,
Okay.
Yeah, because I can just shut off my brain and I'm not thinking about anything, and I do this thing where when my brain is like really, really fucking stressed out, I imagine wringing out a towel inside of my brain. And that's how I fucking drop all the fucking shit that's like clogging my head up. I've had different visuals, where it's like literally there's a door at the back of my head and everything pours out, or you're sweeping shit under a rug. But the wringing out the towel is pretty much like my go-to to just like stop thinking right now and just do your yoga and fucking get in the zone.
Does running put you in that headspace, or do you use running to kind of like organize your thoughts and think?
Actually, it's a little of both.
Okay.
I have the best thoughts when I'm running, it's amazing how things that like you can't even kind of tap into when you're just hanging around the house. Just flow through your brain. I write a lot of lyrics while I'm running, actually.
A lot of the people I chat with when they're swimming or playing hockey or running is when they get a lot of inspiration.
Yeah, it's interesting like that. Maybe it's just the air, or the act of like something almost kind of repetitive. There's something new or something I have to write lyrics to. I'll just keep singing it over and over my head and trying new things. And it's like, well, I've got nowhere else to be, like just keep trying whatever ridiculous shit comes to your mind. But also band practice is a form of, it's like exercise, but it's meditative too. I always feel really, really good after band practice in a way that's different than a show. Because a show, there's so much that leads up to it and there's so much like pressure around it to do a good job. But when you're just in a room with your bandmates and you're fucking rocking out to stuff that you're rehearsing and you're like, God, that sounds good, let's play it again, like that's a really good feeling. So there's so many different ways to like just fucking center.
Yes. And I mean, it brings back to the point of like whatever works for you as a person. Because a lot of people, because I do like wellness coaching too. And a lot of people, we talk about meditation with a lot of them and they're like, well, I don't have the right, pillow to sit on or incense to burn. And I'm just like, oh, no,
Nope.
It doesn't have to be whatever social media is telling you meditation is. The point is whatever helps.
You don't need a corner of your house.
Yeah, just separate from your brain always being on. So whatever gets you to that point. Exactly.
Totally. Yeah, and repetitive tasks too. Painting, sewing something, petting your fucking animal. Just like something where like you're not holding your phone, you're not really thinking about anything in particular, all of that. Super powerful. It's just such an amazing tool.
So you said when you were younger that you kind of used partying as a way to just not deal with life issues, basically. So as you've gotten older, how do you deal with stuff now? Or like, have you ever done therapy or anything? How have you kind of like improved upon that technique.
Yeah. Well, I have done therapy a couple times for different reasons, you know, and I really feel like nobody has it easier than any other person. You know, we all go through some shit in our lives. And especially things that happen in like earlier childhood or teenage years. Fuck, if you take that with you into your 20s and your 30s and don't deal with it, like it's gonna fuck you up so hard. And bad things happen to all people, you know, that doesn't make those bad things okay. But it's like our responsibility to confront them and tell them like, fuck you, bad memory, you know, or shitty thing I was conditioned to believe or do. You are not allowed to infiltrate my day-to-day life anymore and guide my choices. It's like a release, like a letting go, you know, and whether or not you forgive yourself completely or the person's involved or whatever, like looking at it and confronting. I actually had a really amazing Reiki session with a friend of mine back in LA. He was my neighbor. And I was like, Reiki sounds like, you know, is that like acupuncture? I don't know what this is, you know. And I go over there and he puts me on a little table and smells amazing, you know, and he puts some crystals here and all my different chakra points, you know, and I'm like down, like, let's fucking go. And he starts like guiding me to envision walking down a spiral staircase, right? And I'm like taking each step, like noticing it, feeling it, being there, blah, blah, blah. And then when I get to the bottom step, I meet 5-year-old little me, you know? And he was like, what would you like to say to like your younger self? And I was like, ah! Like, I fucking, holy shit, there was some stuff that like, even just like that whole process of, okay, little you are not responsible, you know? That is like, you were just a little innocent person. And there are so many different techniques to approach memories and feelings, but I didn't know I had those inside of me that were like clearly fucking buried in there. And I needed to sob my way through, you know, and I cried like harder than I've ever cried in my entire life for God knows how long, you know, and then I like sit up and he like makes me a cup of tea and I'm like, wow, I feel really good right now. You know?
Yeah, huge release.
Holy shit. It's insane. But I do think people hold things in, and I do that anyway. Like that's just kind of part of my nature is like, okay, I'm mad, won't show it. I'm still mad, won't show it. Still mad. Now I just resent you. Mad, you know, hold it, and then like which is terrible. That's unhealthy. And but at least if you notice these patterns, you know, you can look at them and try to make them better. I'm in an amazing partnership where my boyfriend is just like, we're gonna fucking talk about this and I support you and I am here to protect you. And I'm like, who, me? I'm a piece of shit. Oh, this is amazing, you know. But like, everybody deserves to be loved, and whatever idea we have about ourselves or whatever kind of like things we carry from our past and like associate that to like our being like as an individual, like a lot of times I think it's really exaggerated and we're harder on ourselves than we need to be, you know, because it's not like, you know, like I'm a malicious, mean person, but you internalize so much of the experiences you've had that maybe you're not comfortable sharing with someone, but like finding someone you can talk about them with and talk through them with really makes them less scary.
Yeah.
So whether it was like real therapy that I've done or just finally finding somebody that I trust so much and has shown me I can trust them, you know, this like open communication to where it's like, oh, those things that I thought like damaged me, like, no, we're just going to toss them out and we're moving forward now. You know, it's like, the whatever it is, it's like you can work through it. It's sad when people carry it for too long, you know. Because that shit shouldn't define you, whatever that thing may be.
That's what I was thinking. It becomes a lot of people, well, I mean, this is a whole rabbit hole, but a lot of people end up, they don't want to separate from that identity because it's comfortable, even though it's damaging and it's coming from a place of fear, it's still what's comfortable to them.
Yep, totally. And they're like, this is just who I am. And it's like, no, you can be so much more than that. Like, you can just be you surprise yourself with how fucking amazing you can be. You know, but there are a lot of factors that play into that. It's like self-love is a big one. And sometimes you need to like trick yourself into self-love by just saying it.
And I was going to ask, do you ever do like affirmations or listen to stuff like that to kind of like rewire your brain?
I have said things. It's more like, for me, I'm at a point where I'm like, you fucking got this, you know, because I'm going through a lot with my career that's like big, and there's a lot to take on, which is another one of those things where it's like, Suzi, you don't have to take on every single fucking thing and carry that with you to the point where you're going to explode. So that's something I'm working on, is like being comfortable with delegating tasks and not fucking micromanaging every single thing, you know. But it's a lot of like, you got it, and, you know, just fucking go for it. You know, I try to do things that are scary and challenging in order to push myself to that next level, you know, because if other people can do it, so can I, you know?
Totally. I love it.
Yeah. And music is a big one too. You know, there are certain songs and stuff. Sorry, I'm fixing my bangs. I saw weird hair. Music and songs that get you amped are so powerful. I put on fucking Against Me, and I just feel like I can take on the world. I mean, I don't do as many affirmations, but I pray a lot. And between me and God, and then me and my inner voice, you know, I'm constantly asking for guidance, asking for help, asking to be kind and patient to other people, and like thankful for the people that help me in my day-to-day life and that love me, you know. So really, like, my relationship with God is a huge part of why there were so many times when I could have gone down a bad path, but I always checked myself. So, and maybe that's vanity. Maybe it's because I didn't want to look like shit. I don't know.
Do you have a theory, I don't know, I guess a theory around input output that you want to kind of like?
Oh yeah. I'm all about input output. That's like my favorite shit. Input output means that sometimes on a Monday night, you can fucking order pizza and watch a movie instead of working on something that you actually have a lot of time to work on, but you usually would just push yourself to stay up until 3 a.m. to do it when you don't actually have to.
Right.
You know? Yeah. If you're a workaholic or a creative, it's so fucking important to just stop and chill. And even if it's just sitting on the couch for 20 minutes, you know, again, petting my cat is a big part of my day that helps me to feel really good. But in order to put out fucking ideas and art, and getting on stage is a huge mental workout, physical workout, and it drains you talking to people. You're giving a lot of yourself away to people. And that actually comes into play with photo shoots and music video shoots, whereas these are really fun things that I know I'm lucky to get to do with my life, and I get to do this, but it's work.
And it's still it's using your energy. It's still energy.
You're projecting it out.
Yep.
You know, and it can be extremely draining. And in the last couple of years, a friend of mine told me that input output is really how he sees that, you know? And I was like, well, you're like the most output motherfucker I've ever met. And if somebody that I respect and admire so much, who to me just seems to be like a go, 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 just always working on something person. It's like, oh, it's because you do Pilates in the morning, you know, and you have your coffee when the sun comes up and you chill, you know, and whether it's that or taking like an extra long fucking shower or asking your partner to do the dishes instead of you doing them because you always do them, or like actually when they offer to do the dishes instead of fighting them because you just still want to do them, like letting somebody else do the fucking dishes, you know, just tiny little things where it's like we don't have to take on every fucking thing, especially if we're doing the output all the freaking time. So nowadays I'm sleeping with earplugs in, and well, not every night, but a lot of nights I'm like, I just need to have extra special better sleep.
Yeah.
You know, so just like little things like that, or making a homemade body scrub for the shower. I don't know if you do that with like your old coffee grounds.
No, but what's your recipe right now that you're doing?
Well, I hate to waste them when I see them at the bottom of the French press, you know? So I'll stick them in just like a little plastic, you know, Tupperware if I'm not going to use it that night. But I'll do the coffee grounds and some turmeric.
Okay.
And sometimes sugar, sometimes brown sugar, and then sometimes baking soda. I just kind of fuck around with different things that are in my pantry.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes honey, but really awesome scrub, super soft. Apparently,
do you add any
oil
to it? Yeah.
Oh, well, I kind of mix it with, I use the Castile soap.
Oh, okay.
You know, in my shower. So I do have a big jar of coconut oil. I guess I could do that. That's a good idea. And then it'd be smooth too. I like where your head's
I think it
at.
would hold it together more also.
Yeah, instead of it just going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Next time I'm throwing some coconut oil in there too.
Yeah. And just a little. Yeah. I think it would really be enough to just kind of like bind it.
You're fucking genius. Yay. Yeah.
I used to make my own mouthwash, deodorant. I make all my own cleaners. Pointing that way where my kitchen is.
I think your kitchen's over that way.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. But still at the same time, it's like, wow, because I got into music when I was really young, you know, like 16, and just super exposed to like bar scenes and like everyone around me being older and drinking and partying, you know, but like I always wanted to have a salad. And like I knew, you know, I've known instinctively like what's best for me. You know, it's just when you're out there striking a balance, knowing when you should and shouldn't, and like especially being on the road and eating things that are good for you. It's really hard sometimes to find healthful food that doesn't, you know, you're fucking paying for food every single day when you're on the road. It gets expensive. So you have to find creative ways.
Do you ever do grocery stores?
So I have in the past. I've also done weird things where I just stocked up on a box of raisins and I was like, this is all I'm eating in the van, you know, because they were really cheap. But I love almonds and cashews. So that's good. We could do peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. The band that I'm playing with now, because it's a new group of people since I moved out to DC, and I've got my new best band ever. They're so fucking cool. Yay. And they're awesome. And I'm so happy. We are talking, you know, in our group chat, like, how can we keep food costs down? You know, let's bring a hot plate, the little magic bullet to make smoothies, bring a cooler, you know, because we're all into eating healthy and working out and being, everyone in my band is, okay, not everyone's like fully sober, but we're not a party band, which is really cool. Because then we're unified in that way. Yeah.
And your performance will be better all around too if everyone's on that same page.
Yeah, we're very focused, you know.
That's awesome.
Me too. Yeah. And if only they could just give us bags of frozen fruit backstage instead of bottles of vodka, that'd be great. I'm gonna need more fruit for my cooler that goes in the van, please.
Sliced peaches, please. I don't know.
Totally. Sliced peaches and some blueberries. Thank you very much. Yeah. So we're trying to find creative ways to do that cheaply, but also eat good stuff, you know. I was vegetarian for a super long time, but now it's like, okay, I will get down on some fucking beef jerky. That's a protein. It's not too bad. Maybe a little salty, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, some brands, not all brands are created equal with that. So you can find, or invest in a dehydrator, and you can dehydrate your own, fruit. And
our own roadkill. I see where you're going with this.
There you go.
Plowing down animals on the road. We pull over, we set up a tent, we're dehydrating. We just start selling it at shows. It becomes another fucking income source for the band. I love this.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite quote?
Ooh, I do have a favorite quote, and I've prepared it for you. And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom. And that's Anais Nin. And I came across that when I was about 14, and I hadn't read any of her writing at that point. I just saw the quote somewhere, and I was like, holy shit, that's going to stick with me forever, isn't it? Because you can apply that to so many different situations, whether it's moving or relationships or a job situation, really taking risks instead of staying in maybe it's a comfort zone, but maybe it's not the best place for you, or you can just do fucking better, doing things that are scary and believing in yourself, trusting yourself that you're also worthy of good opportunities. You just have to fucking go for it sometimes and figure out the rest when you get there.
That's it. And but that's a good point too, is a lot of people will forward think so much, and it's like, no, just literally just say yes and start or whatever. And then it will unfold and you'll know what to do as it happens.
You just have to take it one little step at a time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next, my, well, I guess kind of last question. The tagline for my business is delay dying.
Yeah.
I like to ask, thank you. I love to ask people, if you could, give someone advice or tips on how to delay dying, or in other words, live a happier and healthier life, what would you say?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, exercise is number one. I think I will look at those videos of like 90-year-old guys running marathons, and I'm like, fuckers, I want that. I want that so badly. Lifelong exercise. Exercise isn't something you do to get ready for your wedding day. Exercise is something you do every single day to keep your fucking brain healthy and keep those wires like clicking, smelling new things outside. Like, look at how happy outdoor animals are. They're experiencing new smells. They're fucking roaming around, seeing new shit, and exercise outdoors is really important, because it's just the stimulation you get, and the alone time too. All of that stuff is super beneficial. So I would say definitely exercise and apple cider vinegar, baby. Although we'll see how that plays out. Ask me again in 80 years.
What
if I live to be 100 and something? I don't know. That math is all wrong. But we don't know for sure, do we, guys?
When do you take ACV? Like, what's your deal with it?
Sometimes I'll wake up. It depends on the mood I'm in. Sometimes I'll wake up and I'll do it first thing. If I feel like I ate maybe too much the night before, or my gut feels a little funky, in the morning with water, just drink, and then the way I usually enjoy it is at night. I'll make a little water, lemon, apple cider vinegar, cayenne pepper, cinnamon, and honey drink.
And turmeric.
And turmeric is the most important part. Yes. Thank you. And it's delicious. It's a little spicy and it's a little tart, but like it feels fucking good. And I recommend that to all my friends when they're starting to feel even a little bit sick, Yeah. Just drink that. We call it the witch's brew.
Totally. Yeah. That's good for immune support, digestive, like good for like inflammation and circulation and everything.
Yeah, man. I don't like medicine. I never have been a fan of like NyQuil. The times I've taken it in my life, I felt like I got more sick. And that made me go, there's something weird about that. I don't fucking like that shit. I talked to a guy about a year ago when I was selling a car, totally random Craigslist response guy, right? We ended up talking on the phone for like an hour and a half. He lived way out in Pennsylvania, like in the boonies, right? And he told me about like something he does not every morning, but pretty consistently. He'll take like a big spoon of raw organic honey, and then he'll chop up a big fat clove of garlic. So basically mince it, put it in the honey spoon, let it sit for a minute so everything kind of like gets together, and then just fucking eats it, you know? And on the few times I've done it when I felt like I was like getting sick, I thought my stomach was going to explode and I was going to literally die right there.
Yeah.
But I don't fucking get sick. And I don't know. There's something to garlic, dude. Garlic is magical.
Oh my God. I'm fucking obsessed with garlic. Like, I eat it obviously, but I have one of the supplement brands that I carry makes a fermented black garlic. And so, and it's just like the fermented black garlic that they've then like dehydrated and just put it in a capsule. So like, I know someone, he'll open the capsule and sprinkle it on his food. It's garlic.
Interesting.
But that's
is the powder black? Cool. I've never had black garlic.
Yeah, they're little granules. And but yeah, I do that every day. And then if I feel like I'm getting sick, I do like 1 an hour. And like a few pills, like you're fine.
So cool. Yeah. It's all that antifungal,
everything.
Yeah. Onion's another good one. And then my mom swears that if I drink a cup of water with a tablespoon or up to 3 tablespoons of baking soda, it will alkalize my body in some magical way. I do it if I have a little heartburn, and it's like, Mom, you're right, Mom, but she is right about a lot of stuff, and that does make me feel good. So, but that stuff is ancient, there are certain things that have been around for so long. It's like, why would I look at like a Robitussin bottle, I'm like, I don't think my body needs that stuff. That's weird. That's weird stuff. I don't want it, So whatever I can do, like naturally, I do.
Good.
Yeah.
We're on the same wavelength with that.
Yeah, girlfriend.
Does your band have anything, or do you have anything cool coming out that you want to share on?
Yeah, we have so much cool stuff. Some of it I can't speak on too much, but we do have a mini tour coming up in November. And so we're going to hit Brooklyn again, Philly. We're going to play Washington, D.C. and Richmond, Virginia. And we're calling that the East Coast Shakedown Tour with our friends, The Wheels and Mystery Girl. And then early next year in 2022, there will be a new EP out. So 3 more songs. And I've been listening to those mixes a lot. That's what I've been doing instead of meditating before the gym. I'm sitting in the car listening to it on the car speakers, like, oh, fuck yeah. What I can tell people is that it's the visual for this was like the sister record to Call the Shots. So visually, there are it comes from the same spirit, like the same place. I really love, obviously, to play dress up and to create the character in my head, and like the visual side of making music is one of my favorite fucking parts. Like I have so many ideas that I want to realize. And when you have a concept and you follow through on it, and then it looks the way you wanted it to in your head, it's the best feeling in the fucking world. So I'm like really excited to share the artwork and the songs for this second EP. So that's going to come out really soon on Pirates Press Records. So
cool. Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Well, this has been an awesome chat. We're like on the same wavelengths with like, dude, so much stuff. So I
felt that the second we got on the phone together.
Yeah. I could talk.
I was like, hey, how are you? It's been a while. How have you been? Like chatting like with an old friend.
Yeah. I know. I could talk to you for like so many rabbit holes about all this stuff, but I'm like, oh, I got to keep time. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, all of your awesome all of your awesome self.
Hopefully it wasn't like too gnarly for anybody.
I don't think so.
We're all a little gnarly.
Yeah. But hey, that's, we want people to relate, so it'll be good.
Totally. Yeah. Well, I really appreciate what you're doing. I think it's super cool. I need to look on your page about the things I can buy from you because I'm interested in supplements and stuff like that. I already take like a multi and glucosamine and calcium and an immune booster, but I'm sure there's other stuff that I could even bring in the van and like all of us could, have our little routine of doing stuff that feels good and tastes good and is good for us.
Totally.
Okay.
It's there.
You're awesome, Amy. Yay.
All right. Thank you, Suzi.
Thank you. Okay.
Bye.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.